Doing it. Hey guys, we're live, and I've got all my pals here. I've got this cool program. Some of the people may have heard of. It's called Sketch dot io, and it's a web page where a guy can just literally draw. And so this, if I feel like sharing sketching processes, I now have a program to do it with.
Oh,
Of
that's
course,
cool.
you've got to be good with the program. But this little pen here is a groovy little thick and thin pen. It makes me want to draw with it. So, and like I told Scott, he said, "Get out of here! It's vector. It's like Illustrator. It's
Yeah,
pretty cool."
well, I had to draw. I was telling him I had to draw something at work the other day, and I draw a figure, a person, a portrait, and I drew it with a marker, and then with a Sharpie, and then scanned it in. It's like, God, if I'd have had that, I'd have drawn it
Yeah.
and then had it vectored, because that's what I really need at my work.
Let's see, it's good.
Well,
So, how
it
about
doesn't.
you?
I think. How's that for drawing though? I can't see. I was very good at Illustrator. I used to love Illustrator.
Well, this isn't. This
that
is like
before.
turning
No,
on the
I
pen.
know that. But we mentioned Illustrator when we talked. I was talking about that.
Hmm.
So I was very good at that. But I never thought you could really draw it very freehand in Illustrator. Maybe I didn't have a good pad or something.
Well,
Maybe I
yeah,
was just
you
using the
have to know
mouse.
there's a little trick. You turn it into what is it called, Scott? Freeform pen or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I
there
never
is a
did
pin.
that. So to be fair, I guess you're right. Yeah. I
Well,
never used a pen. I was doing it with the mouse.
oh yeah, that's like drawing with a brick. But I mean, I draw. I use Illustrator every single day, all day, and I use a mouse. But like what I'll do is if I'm drawing a person or whatever, I'll draw their outline with the mouse so it's precise,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll go in with I have a Cintiq, the
Mm-hmm.
tablet. Now it's not one you draw on the screen. I'm drawing on the pad over here, but I can there's a freeform drawing pen, and you can do pretty good. Everyone's always telling me, "Oh, you should draw comics in Illustrator," and I just don't like that. I don't think it looks
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Like this thing right here. If I hit the select tool right now, I can go back and oops, it's got to hit it. It's got to say use it. See how that little uh, rectangle is updating? That's me right there.
Yeah.
And right, that thing lets me see that.
All right. Resizing.
Yeah. It rescales it. Now I can just
Rescale.
redraw it. Pretty groovy.
Got three options there.
Yeah. It's, as you can imagine, they're not going to give you a whole suite of things this thing does. This has got to work on a web page. So it's very simple. You can hack your way into this and figure it out pretty quick.
But I like the way it looks. It has
Yeah,
kind of a
yeah.
nice line.
It's a very nice thick and thin line. Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, and it's got other tools.
I prefer not to draw on the computer.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
given my
I've
choice.
got a little thing here. I've got a little tablet that looks like that. See? Oh, you can't see me. How would you guys
Yeah, we
prefer?
see
I
you.
made this smaller so you guys can see a bigger image of yourself. Are you okay with me
I'm fine
being the
with
big
it.
guy?
I'll wait until my presentation time.
Oh, okay.
Let's
Are
see.
you gonna play an instrument or something? What are
I
you
was
up to?
I was thinking of doing a striptease. What do
Okay.
you think?
Okay, make him small. Make him small.
Actually, I decided to block a guy on Tumblr that was doing pretty much the same thing.
Oh,
He apparently followed me, but I don't want to follow him.
that'd be a
Do
hard act
your
to follow.
thing. Just don't try to do mine.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
try to do
yes.
mine.
Yeah,
No, actually, what I was going to show was, I keep talking about the what they call now TTRPGs, tabletop role-playing games.
Ah.
Yeah.
You know, I had such great, I think Scott probably understands part of this. I had such great experiences playing with my friends that, you know, it's like, it's addictive because it was such a pleasant experience. It was, you know, so creative. It's really, if you're doing it the way I was doing it anyway, you know, we were writing a story as we went along. You made up the story as you went along. You have to have an outline. Somebody has to have an outline of what, you know, of events, maybe a timeline, and you got to be prepared for the actions of the players because they can come up with whatever they want to.
Well, do
within
people,
the context of the setting. So in other words, if you're in fantasy setting, well, you first of all, the manager, I say game manager, would inform them of their surroundings and their past. So they have some idea of what their character is. And then, of course, I would always ask for their input first. That's the first thing. What kind of person are you? Or with fantasy, sometimes you got to get them all. They're all out of the farm just now, or early military enlisters, or something like that along the lines.
Set the scene.
Or in the Thieves Guild, they're in the Thieves Guild together. You know, you have to have a setting that everybody agrees on.
Straight out of Pigland.
Yeah.
I could Pigland, except that would be comical. I don't know that I want to do a role playing game that's comical. I mean, actually play one.
I got you.
Joke because
you've got enough
anyway.
depth and
you joke anyway. Everybody's joking constantly. You know.
Yeah.
Unless their character's in peril, and then they're not joking. They're not so
it gets serious.
About it. So to get back to what this point was, I was going to show some of the artwork from Chaosium because I like their covers, and I got you get these bundles now. You know, they're trying to get rid of the game's not doing so great, so they try to sell a bundle through it, and they give a little bit to charity, so it's not a bad thing. Good price on stuff that I wanted, and I wasn't going to pay what they were asking for it. So let me open this thing up here. Oh, that is open already. That's why I can't open it. So do you want to give me a window? Oh, I share the window.
Sure. Yeah, I've got you small. Do you want it big? Here
this will be a brief, no longer than 3-hour presentation. Everyone,
okay, there you are.
I'm ready.
You're solo.
I'm very low on the screen. You meant, I think. Okay, let's see. Okay.
You see yourself large or not? You should
no, I'm good. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Let's see, let's just go. I think the window's probably the good thing. Yeah.
You're fuzzy looking, which would just be an indication of a camera that's like mine.
Or your meds are off or something.
Yeah.
No?
Or your meds are off. Yeah.
That's it. That's probably it.
So I can open. Okay, let's see. I guess I have to open them up.
What, are you trying to share a screen?
Oh,
I made you smaller. It's just for the heck of it while we're waiting for you to get into your presentation mode.
Is there a presentation mode?
The share screen, you know how you and I talk back and forth.
I think we were up there already, weren't we? Weren't we up there already?
Maybe I'm not seeing it. I don't see it in my little
okay.
Now it might be here. Wait a second. Let me make my screen.
You know what?
Bigger.
Let me do the screen, and this way I don't have to, because I think when I do a window, it goes on and off too easily.
Okay.
So I'll do the whole shebang, and then you can, at your leisure,
share it. You can discuss it. We'll look at
discuss it, share it, look at it, what have you. No?
What? No, I don't see it yet.
It's you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you. Do I have to click on this? I think you have to turn it on, Ellis.
Well, ordinarily I would say that is where I would see a new image down here. Oh, there it is. Sorry. I guess I wasn't giving it enough.
Hey, you're doing
elbow
much
room.
better than I would probably do. I
Hey.
wasn't kind of scrambled brain.
There we go. Now you're all in. Oops, now I got to add it again.
At work, I have to present sometimes these Zoom meetings, and it's always, and I consider myself fairly techie, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't find the window. I can't.
There it is.
It's like, it's crazy.
Sorry with the delay there, but I see it now. We got it big now. RuneQuest, yep.
Look at that cover.
Sweet.
That's cool.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah.
I've never played RuneQuest. Is it good?
Well, it was a fantastic improvement on Dungeons and Dragons, but they got bogged down in rules. So their system, the simplest system, was the Fantasy Trip or GURPS, and then they also complicated their system too. So there is no simple systems anymore.
Yeah.
But you can go back to the basics, But they made it more logical, even though again, they have talking ducks. So how realistic can you get? But they tried to make it. They made an attempt to make it much more, where the concepts of hit points and so on made a little bit of sense. And they have things like in some of the other games that Chaosium, they should be paying me for this.
Yes.
That they produce, like what's this King Arthur game? It's called Camelot, I think. Or I can't even remember what it's called, but it doesn't matter. The point was that in that game they have something like you get a list. There's a list you roll, and you end up with a sort of a handicap like anger. Where you're in a situation you'd have to make a roll to make sure your character didn't go off, because see, as a player you're going to be a little bit more crafty about what's happening. But if you were a character and you were like a raging barbarian, and some guy insulted you, you'd have to roll to keep you cool. Even though it might endanger the party or the situation. So that they had little things like that. In Call of Cthulhu, they have insanity, where you lose your sanity. And at a certain point you lose it, and then they have a chart that tells you the symptoms. You run away crying, or you curl into a fetal position.
Yeah, it's that is kind of it's almost like you guys all get together to do basically what do you call it? Improv.
It is improv.
It is part of that. Yeah. Ellis,
I dig that. I went to an improv thing with a group that was basically Toastmasters with a little bit of overtone of like comedy stuff. It was at a place called Funny Bones, where comedians would get up and try their material in front of a group.
Was that in LA?
That was in Culver City, actually. It was a cool thing. But then the group, for whatever reason, says, hey, look, I found this flyer or whatever. This guy presents improv classes. We went to that, and I was ready to not like it just instantly. And it was cool, because it challenges a part of your brain that it's just like this. It's like, well, of course it's got continuity, because you talk all the time. You're able to say, if it's okay, it's your turn now, Mario, take the stage.
Yeah.
You can do it. And with the rules, with little rules like this, a guy could have fun, saying, hey, I'm on stage. I'm on stage now. Okay, let me tell you about this.
That's cool. What's that from, Mario? I think I'm behind.
This guy reminds me of Mobius.
Yeah.
It's from the RuneQuest, the Red Book of Magic.
Oh,
so they have a lot of the original guy, Greg Stafford, who I corresponded with a little bit.
That looks like someone has the reference material to a few gypsy dancers, like Maureen O'Sullivan in The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I didn't get that, but
oh well, you haven't seen that version, I guess.
I guess not.
I'm old. Hunchback of Notre Dame freaked me out when I saw it as a kid.
That was a great movie.
Yeah. Because you can't believe Richard Basehart is about to be hung by this crowd of cruel
Wait a minute.
people.
Charles Lawton played the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. But Richard Basehart was the guy that the gypsy saved. He was just a tweety little kid then.
Okay.
I think it's Richard Basehart. I'll have to check that.
So the artwork got a lot better.
Look at that. Yeah.
Because they went through a period where they weren't trying very hard.
Mm-hmm.
See, this
and it shows, huh?
Look at this.
Yeah. It looks it belongs on a Niven science fiction book. Yeah. Well, that's the deal. The overlap between this and just regular fiction. It's ready to be fiction. It's saying, here you go. Here's all your prompts. Here's your rules. Go to it.
Yeah, I enjoy that so much that I cannot let go of it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I haven't done it, I can't even see.
You can't get loose to do it.
I had I hooked up with a guy, and he was interested. He actually had been in the Kosovo War as a photographer.
Oh wow!
He went over there. He served. I mean, not served. He was a journalist. Mm-hmm. Now he teaches, or he's in charge of the media department in some high school. I forget what it was. I just put an ad on the Connecticut Gaming Club. There is a gaming club up here, but it's like over an hour from here, and I don't want to drive over. Spend 2 hours driving to play for 2 hours.
Yeah. I agree.
So
it's a good way to.
But I put an ad in there, and what he responded, and he was new to gaming, and I actually created a simple rule system for him because I was doing that. So I've done that so much over the years. I can knock him out of the park,
Mm-hmm.
And I think in that terms. I've never really stopped designing those damn games.
Well, you missed your calling then, because if you stayed in SoCal just a little bit longer, you probably would have been doing it for a living or something like it in video games.
I was I did. That's possible. That's possible. I tell you, I got into Hanna-Barbera.
Yep.
But
a guy goes where his talents can be sold. Yep.
They do not pay for the training.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. That's very designy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Map making. Yeah.
A lot of maps.
Yep.
I always enjoyed role-playing games when you were exploring. That's what I always thought was neat. You never knew.
Right.
I wasn't. I don't know. What I never liked. And I played with a group recently. We broke up a few years ago just because we didn't have time.
Right,
and we were playing 5th edition, which is the latest version of Dungeons & Dragons. And Mario, I grew to hate it because it was so you couldn't die. You could not die. And
There's
when
no
I
threat.
realized there was
fun.
no threat. And so what happened is when I realized that I had a wizard that was like 5th level, and he could fly, he could turn invisible, he could shoot fire bolts at will, he could do all this stuff.
Yeah, they wanted to make it accessible and quick.
And I was just like, they have what they call cantrips, which are certain spells, and you can cast them every turn if you want. And it got to where I became where I didn't try, and the other players were cautious. I was reckless. I would charge. Because if you're
not going to die, what's the problem? What do you think of this? What do you think of this artwork? Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Is cool.
Hang
on. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the same one. That's great. I like that. But it drove me crazy because I don't, and there was so much stuff you could do with your character, and every level you could become a different class.
Give you too much.
They give you too much, and so it's like you build this superhero, which I mean I like comic
Everybody
books,
wants to be a superhero, you know.
but there was no threat, and it just became, to me, it just became tedious, and so
Mm-hmm.
you
I
know,
just stopped. You know, I've been playing console games for about almost 15 years, I think. It took me a year to learn how to use the controller, by the way.
yeah,
It did. I was, you know, because I came to it late and I was older already. I was already a senior. And, but I like the Assassin's Creed games. Do you know those?
I have seen them. I've never played one.
They have you played console games? Surely you have.
Oh yeah. It's been a while.
Because you're an adult, a mature adult.
Well, it's because I'm trying to do a million things at once.
That too, yeah, and that becomes less important. Except when you get hooked on a game. So I like the and it's a stupid title and makes you think, well, what's wrong? You know, why would you want to play Assassin's Creed? But they're very historically they delved into history in Odyssey. It's called Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
That game had such depth and at least the impression of history that you were in, and the naval battles were amazing, and the visual stuff is astounding sometimes. You know, they look so real.
Mm-hmm.
And they did about 3. Then the first one was in Egypt, and that was good. Then they did an Odyssey, which was the best one so far, I think. But then they did Vikings, which was good. It got a little hung up in a couple of places, but it was really good too.
So
and then this one I just
you
did.
found some bugs, okay?
Not bugs, but some of the gaming bogs down.
Uh-huh.
You know, you building, and that when you build up a village as well. But the basic premise is that they're third person. So you see the guy, which reminds me of the miniatures. You know, I always like that connection there. And it's open world. You know, you can go wherever you want.
Oh, I like games like that.
Oh yeah. It's like
these are huge.
Well,
the Odyssey's huge. Huge.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think about that.
Which one is that, Mario? I mean,
Odyssey.
I know it's Assassin's Creed Odyssey. What console is it on?
It's on. I think. Well, I got it on PlayStation 4.
PlayStations. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
PlayStation 4. I think I've got a PlayStation 2 over here. It might be a 3.
I've got a 2, and I had a 3, and I had a picture fall off the wall, and it hit the back of it, and it stopped working.
Oh boy!
My first PlayStation only lasted a year. I don't know what the hell that was about. Just stopped working.
Well, that sucks.
After a year, so I bought. Then I bought an Xbox, and I like that one. I still have my Xbox 3.
Mm-hmm.
I can't play first-person games. They make me queasy. I think I get vertigo. Yeah, they can. Not always, but they can. Even watching somebody on YouTube play them, they just give me a little bit of...
Yeah, a lot of that. Oh, I have to be careful also.
That's the way to play those games, is on you watching somebody else play them for you.
Yeah, that's what I'll do a lot anymore. If there's something I want to play, I watch Spider-Man. You know.
Yeah.
Then
Would you guys ever play EverQuest? Because I was around when the guys that were doing that were on the ground floor.
Never played it. I remember it, but I've never played it.
Yeah, that was one of the first really big, massive multiplayer. When people learned how to start making money by basically renting to you.
What do they call it? Microtransactions.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? There's a cover.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty exciting.
That's pretty groovy. So
they have about 4 books, and each book is a book about a certain culture.
Mm-hmm.
So you can really, it's very deep. I mean, if you wanted to, it makes Lord of the Rings look like light reading, some reading.
Oh, yeah.
Really. It's that complicated. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. See the Earth.
That's interesting. Yeah, I like that. I dig the colorscape on it. obviously, they handed these over to talents for. Oh, look at
Yeah.
that map.
Oh, yeah, yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah.
I like the one with the green girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm behind you a little bit on my
Mhm.
video. Oh wow, that City of Boldholm map. That's cool.
Bold home.
Boldholm.
So yeah, and they have a setting, and well, they've got the whole world mapped out already,
Mm-hmm.
but they kind of focus on one area, and that's
Yeah.
where most of the game is set. Oh, now since you were impressed with that, we got to show you my map.
Okay. Well, yeah, you've made maps for showing you where
gosh.
you're at in Goddess and Pigland.
Yeah, I showed you the big map. I think. Let me open this because I'll show you what I've done, and I have concepts for the rest, but I guess I was focused. Let me get this big there. See, this part I worked out
Cool.
pretty well.
Mountains of Heaven.
And I think those
Oh.
this way.
The Hawaii.
Yeah.
Now, when you're doing your languages,
I have stories set in these
all of-
places too. A couple of stories.
It's probably a good way to go is to make it real for yourself and write a quick bit of flash fiction, little something, little story.
I was writing. I haven't. I just published the one, but I did start another novel, and I kind of lost my momentum there. That happens.
Oh, it takes momentum. You have to return to it. Yep.
Well, here, Scott. Here's the sheet, the character sheet.
Oh wow, that's kind of That's got a lot of crazy symbols on it.
Yeah, and they went overboard too. But that's the hit location. See, they came up with really the way they do hit locations, and they work out. Oh, and then it depends on how far you want to get into it.
Right.
I studied so much mythology. I don't need any phony a newer one. Because they fleshed it out. But okay, so what?
Yeah.
All right. So and basically that's what I do. I just keep writing this stuff because it works for some part of my brain, I guess.
So let me ask you a question, Mario, about role-playing games.
Okay.
Do you so you said you prefer a simpler system? Is that correct?
Well, and for a good reason, and that's because when in the instances when I played, you never really have time to use all those details.
Mm-hmm.
Even with groups that ran, I had friends that came over from OU. I started playing at OU.
Yeah.
And they'd come over when I came back from California for a couple of years. We played at my place, and I had my two old cronies from the club. Because there was a Dungeons and Dragons club there.
Yeah.
And I forgot the question.
The question was
Simple.
A simple system.
So so I kept it simple, and there was plenty to play with. And in fact, I got to the point where if you didn't have to roll dice, you were golden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of that was one of the things I ran into with when we were playing 5th edition. I'd go over to a guy's house and we'd play for 2 hours, and it would be like 1 or 2 encounters with hobgoblins or goblins or whatever, and it took forever to do. And like I said,
it's ridiculous. What's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
Watch a movie instead.
Well,
read a story.
To me, I want to explore. I want to interact with creatures and characters. And I don't have I like when there's.
But the game guy, the guy who's running the game, is responsible for a lot of that. You have to make it interesting.
Yeah, I know, and he did pretty good. And then we got. We did everything on miniatures, and he had a map on the table, and that kind of got bogged down. And then they went to this. He put a big television screen in his game room, and he would do the map on the screen. and it was fine, but to me I would rather than see it, I'd rather have like a description of it, and
unless it's been mapped and it's part of the game.
Right.
It's been mapped and everyone knows that it's been mapped and you can see a map.
Well,
otherwise it's not right.
Well,
how would he know that? He wouldn't know everything.
Well, on the screen, he could reveal parts of it at a time. He could reveal it a room at a time.
Oh, okay.
So it was fairly, but it just, to me, it kind of took me out of the game. I would rather hear a description and a like a loose map, maybe like on graph paper, maybe if like we're mapping it based on his directions, than a kind of a semi-realistic dungeon map. That
you were digging radio era visualization of stuff, and this guy wanted to bring it forward into electronic imagery.
Yeah. I mean, and that was fine. I didn't really have a problem with that. It was, and I would have probably kept playing, except for, like I said, the group broke up. But it did kind of drag. And it wasn't him. That was the 5th edition rules. But there was so many options, and there was all, if something happened, then like if someone attacked you or you attacked somebody, then they could get like an attack on you because you moved within. And it was just a million rules. I was just like, golly, just tell us what's going on, and then we get to a fight. Let's roll a couple dice and resolve it, and move on.
Well, that's interesting. The idea that the company putting something out it's just like any sort of rollout. It's like, why did they change this and that? It's like you just say, well, who's in charge here, morons? Don't you realize what was fun and what wasn't?
Well, people liked it because, like I said, there were so many options to save your character. I got to where I felt like, well, my character, at 5th level, he's invincible, and we didn't lose anybody. We lost a couple people or a couple characters, but once they got above 1st level, man, it was just like, game on. That really took me out of it. I think.
Sure. I've played games where you basically have got a what do they call that when you've got a hack to where you can be invulnerable, and it's like no, you just lose total interest if you're playing like that taxi driver game, and you can't crash your car and kill yourself. Then all of a sudden it's like, this is pointless.
My big idea now is to have you guys when I come on. That's what we'll do.
Play a role-playing game while we're.
We could do that. I'll do that.
Okay,
and I'm going to switch over to a phone. I can switch over to a phone as well. And whenever there's a tactical situation, I could hold the phone over it, and you guys can see what we're doing with the miniatures.
Yeah, we'll do that. When do you want to do it? You'll plan on next week, or
next week, huh?
Well,
you heard it here, folks.
The first time is just going to be you guys figure. We figure out what I have almost every setting that I can think of.
Okay. What do you guys want in terms of genre?
Why don't we decide the genre, the setting tonight? And that's
okay.
What about like an Indiana Jones, like early 20th century explorer?
Pulp. I dig it. I dig it. A pulp. Oh, I dig it. Yeah.
And not only that, but that's exactly when I was in Oklahoma. That's mostly what we did go into RuneQuest, and I was kind of using some of the rules back then. But we were doing a variation of Call of Cthulhu, but pulp. So that's what I was running. Yeah. So I'm pretty prepared for that.
Okay. Yeah. I think that'd be fun. What do you think, Ellis?
That's very appropriate. I like the idea. Yeah, I'll be the shadow. So I'll know what evil is lurking.
I do have a character that's the equivalent of the shadow, but I think we'd have to give that to Scott.
Okay.
Yeah. You think that would be fair?
Yeah.
I'm happy with like an Indiana Jones kind of thing.
Sure.
Indiana
more-
Jones character, because I swear to God, I'm not making this up on the spot. I do have Oklahoma Smith.
Oklahoma Smith. That's cool.
Something that's kind of that kind of thing, more realistic than the Shadow or Doc Savage or the Spider, more explorery.
More.
Oh, I actually have a whole campaign. That one actually starts in Victorian London. So I'll do the pulp. I'll probably pick it up where I left off. So we have a relationship, a relation of the Vanderbilts. So you have that was a character. In fact, he called him Cornelius. I guess he was junior. Well, when was Cornelius Vanderbilt around? In the late 1800s.
I have no idea.
The Vanderbilts.
He was around during the Civil War. He was around during the Civil War, the first guy.
Oh,
anyway,
really? Okay.
Well, the family.
I don't even know what their wealth is based on. What are where did the Vanderbilts get their wealth?
Railroads.
Railroads. Okay, that makes sense.
I think it's railroads or shipping. Railroads
and shipping. Yes.
Yeah.
Just watched that. Well, I read that book about New York during the Civil War, and then I was watching Ken Burns' Civil War documentary. That's so excellent.
Oh yeah. I think that's when everybody said, "Hey, this Ken Burns guy."
Yeah.
Can we just go ahead and make a statue of him now? Everybody really dug his work in that. Because and like someone said the other day on online, I guess it's Twitter. Yeah, just go ahead and read correspondence from anybody from the 1800s, and you realize how we've all turned into retards. Basically, people were so much more articulate back then, had so much more command of the language. And that's what, a lot of that Burns stuff was. He was presenting the correspondence from those soldiers and stuff.
Yeah, it's made it.
Oh, hey, do we have any comments, Ellis?
Oh, let me look. Not yet. Okay. That I can see.
Okay.
I have a feeling this show is going to top Scott's record of 600.
Well, yeah, you think we'll get a lot of hits on this?
Yeah.
I tell you what, if I put the right headline, the right thumbnail, you tell me, send me some artwork for exactly what we're going to be doing next week, and I'll make a thumbnail out of it and shoot you guys. Tell me what the title is, for that matter. And we will see how many hits we can get.
Ellis, I'll tell you, one of my things I do is I'll title my video myself. I'll come up with the title, but I will have AI, ChatGTP, write the description. I'll tell it, write me a YouTube description for a video. Tell it what it's about. And I will tell it to write the tags also. And it doesn't. What I do is I tell it to write 30 tags for a YouTube video, separated by comma, and then tell it what the video is about. And then what it'll do is it'll give me about 30 tags, and it's usually too many, but I'll figure out which ones don't work, but it gives me a good start.
Yeah, I just let you be in the editor position. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
I'll take out the ones I don't like and ones I like. Ones if it doesn't do so, and some of them it's like, okay, I need to change a couple words or change a word or add a word or whatever. But I mean, it's. I feel like it's not. Well, it is faster than me thinking of them, but it thinks of stuff I wouldn't have thought of. So it's a good way to write a bunch of tags. You can write 500 characters worth of tags.
Wow.
So I'll usually tell it to make me like 30.
That's very good.
You guys, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you guys made my day, so thank you, because I love doing that. Okay?
I'm looking forward to it.
We'll do it. I hope it doesn't frustrate you, though, Mario. I can see you getting real deep in it, and then all of a sudden being torn away.
No, I'm not. I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll enjoy it though. I'll enjoy what we do.
I'll break out dice even.
Dice.
Okay, so next, it's going to go slow. It builds up, and then you'll be crying if you lose your character. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I do every time.
so
You know,
next
they're-
time
they're-
we'll figure out who, and you got to have a couple of characters because some get killed.
Mhm, yeah, sure.
So you have a couple of characters, and you can. I don't mind if you use semi superheroes. Not
No, I was just,
I have the equivalent of them. I
Uh-huh.
won't use any brand names or anything because I just I keep everything in house.
Mhm.
But there are archetypes that I use,
Sure.
if not straight ripoffs.
Well,
I
yeah.
have Sherwood House.
Sherwood House. Who would he be? Sherwood House. I can't. It doesn't
Think of
occur
it
to
as
me.
there's a pun in there too.
Sherwood.
There's a pun in there somewhere.
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, Sherlock
Yeah.
Holmes.
And I think I told you this, Scott. He actually ends up being the Red Scarf, who is the Shadow, because he goes to the east and learns the mystic arts and martial arts.
Oh, that's cool.
And magic, and he comes back and he's the Red Scarf, who is the archetype of the Shadow.
Of the Shadow.
So
Very
you can
cool.
actually have and that's who you'd be playing. At that point, he'd still be Sherlock. He'd still be Sherwood House, though.
If you want to come up with a couple characters, I'm okay with that, Mario.
You said pulp. You said pulp.
Pulp.
That's right. I'm sorry. I keep flipping back to the Victorian thing I had planned. But we're going to do pulp because they're fighting the Black Cult, the Black Star Cult.
The
Mhm.
Black Star Cult. Okay.
Yeah.
Seems like to me Victorian is very akin to what the pulp writers are writing about typically.
No.
The same era. Not really.
No. Victorian is 1890.
Mm-hmm.
1890.
Pulp
Pulp
is
really
1920s.
30, 40, 20s,
Yeah.
20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Mhm, yeah.
I guess the Edwardian period is sort of Victorian. There's a
Mhm.
crossover
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But it's. I think when it was the Industrial Revolution, that's what I think is like the dividing line.
I don't know. What do you think of
No,
the
that-
cotton
that-
gin? Is that the
Yeah, that was
Industrial
in the
Revolution?
1850
No,
or
that's
1840.
earlier. That's pre-Civil War, isn't it?
Mhm.
I
Yes.
guess the big difference between Victorian and pulp would be the addition of the gasoline engine, automobiles. You wouldn't have automobiles in a Victorian adventure.
And flight.
And
flight.
planes,
flight.
yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're always hopping on a plane in Pulp Fiction. Yeah, you bet. I always liked the Wild Bunch movie for that. The moment he pulled out that 1911.
That was setting in the West, too.
Yeah. That's the deal. I mean, it's right there in its name, 1911. It's
Yep.
like he was able to have that at the ready as a cowboy. And of course, they had a Gatling gun in it.
You
I've got
said
lot
you
of
had a
cowboy
you had a
images.
you had a Western setting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Down. It's near the border of New Mexico and Mexico.
Oh, gotcha.
And it's a character. It's a woman called the Bat.
The
And
bat.
she's
Oh.
she's the archetype of Zorro.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
And her three children. She was exposed. Well, I told you I ripped off the idea from Philip Jose Farmer of the meteorite, and I have so I tied that in with kryptonite.
Mhm.
Oh,
And the fellow who is Miston, that's what I call him, Miston, and his cousin, who ends up showing up too, is Miston Girl.
Mm.
So that Mistonite gets into the universe that all the settings are in, and it has the same effect as what Philip Jose Farmer called a Wohl-Newton meteorite, which is that it radiates in a beneficial, giving superpowers basically.
Mhm.
So the closer you are and the more you had of it, the more powerful you're going to be in some way.
Mhm.
Or what? And of course, it's random because that's convenient for coming up with a lot of
for
different
storytelling,
superheroes.
and yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Stan Lee said about mutants. It's like, oh, all of a sudden I didn't have to have origin stories. They were just born this way. Yeah.
Do you have notes on all this stuff, Mario?
Yes, I do.
That's good. I'm glad.
He's got quite a retrieval system, though, and when you tell
Yeah.
yourself a story, you remember it. That's one good memory thing. It's like songs. All of a sudden, I was doing that bit on streaming and free associating, and I realized I could sing almost every bit of this Frankie Lane song just because
Why Do Fools?
No, it was you may not know this one. It's like blood on the saddle. Blood streaming down my vest. 20 in the posse, and they're never gonna let me rest. Since I became a wanted man, I'm always on the run. Now they hunt me like a mountain cat, and I'm always. That's it. You know what I mean? That sound familiar? It was from Frankie Lane's greatest hits.
Frankie Lane. Was he?
Am I thinking of the right guy?
Country. Is that a country guy?
Boy, he sang Rawhide. He was all over the place.
Guy. Yeah.
And he sang Boot Hill.
I've been listening to some country music because they, for a little while there, they really had the fire, and nobody else was doing anything.
Oh well, gosh, I could listen to George Jones' greatest hits
all day
long.
George Jones.
Oh my gosh,
I have a couple of his songs.
He's one of those guys that it's like from if you want to hear somebody get compliments, it's like Frank Sinatra
I always
says,
"Get lucky with you."
Yeah. I mean, he was great. No, that's all right. I dig me some. He's got some songs I just get chills listening to. It's his delivery. Of course, he stopped loving her today. That song. What else? What did I take us out of the realm? I'm sorry.
No,
free associative
no realm
stuff
is unknown to us. We are
Right.
We're
something good. That is no realm is barred.
Nothing is sacred. Oh,
nothing is individually we can have sacred stuff.
Yeah.
There you go.
and touching on that topic, I had to put down King Jesus because he goes into too much detail. I can't, and I'm not remembering all the names. So what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
because he's showing the relationship to the Jesus story with all the nearby religions and how they interacted with each other.
Oh yeah.
I keep thinking of you when I was reading that thing. I said, Scott would like this better than I do. I did like it though because he also, he's making these connections that are enlightening. Let's say.
Did you? Who wrote that? I know you talked about it.
Robert Graves, who was famous for being a mythologist.
Oh yeah, I've heard. I think I have a book on the Greek myths, maybe.
Yeah, and that one is totally boring because he actually just lists the god and the myth. And I got the audio book, and I couldn't handle it. It was just ridiculous. What's the point of that? You're not going to even retain any of that. You got to have a good story, like you said. You remember the stories.
Yeah.
But he did write some decent fiction, though. Belisarius, that was good. That was, and again, you'd have to be interested in that history part of history. History is fantastic if you get the right writer.
Oh yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
because it's such a great head start on what you're up to. It's like, this is the kind of stuff I dig.
I just read a great 700-page book on World War II by John Keegan that was great. I enjoyed it a lot.
He knows war. He wrote The Face of War, I believe, or The Mask of War, something like that.
Possibly. He's written a lot of books.
What was that? famous book, and I can't remember it.
Well, you guys know the guy that wrote From Here to Eternity. I started checking out bio stuff on him. That guy lived the life of the Frank Sinatra role. He was put in the guardhouse. The deal is they stuck him in the South Pacific, tried to kill him there, and then brought him back and expected him to do the European theater all over again. And he just went a little nuts about it. Says, nope, you had your chance to kill me. And he ended up being just this super insubordinate guy. And I thought that was a cool story about him. But at the same time, you expect your guys writing about America and all that to be kind of like your straight up heroes, you know. But no, James, I guess it's Jones, I forget. He was he wasn't having any of it. Matter of fact, I think he was an expat. I think he went over to Europe, says, I've had it. Tried to kill me. Of course, I'm sure he was plenty happy with all the American money he made from Here to Eternity and all that.
The guy who it actually happened to was based on his book?
Oh, From Here to Eternity, yeah, it was a lot of his life was in it, yeah. And then, of course, he wrote The Thin Red Line, too, which is, in some way, a beautiful movie. And it's a pretty genius condensation of the book, actually. It's got a lot of what is in the book. It's interesting to me that particular director, that he would want to take these old-timey obscure things and do his version of them. Of course, it thrilled him at one point or other. It's like James Cameron. I don't think he ever got out of junior high, basically. He wanted to be a guy that was diving down into the mystery of the ocean, and that's a lot of what influences him today, is the idea of going for a deep dive into the abyss, you know.
Well, who did the Avatar movies?
He did it.
James
That's
Cameron.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought it was somebody else.
No, that's him. And, he went down to the Titanic with old Bill Paxton. He was down there because they were great buds. Of course, Paxton was in his movies in Terminator, the Game Over Man.
That's in Aliens.
Oh yeah, right.
That's from Aliens.
That's
I
Aliens.
remember that line. That was a great scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's also in.
I don't know if you're paying attention here. We just
Yeah. His he gets into it. Near Dark. That was something I don't think Cameron had anything to do with, but Bigelow had something to do with it.
Have you guys seen How We Live in the Shadows? I think I mentioned this the last time.
You mentioned it to me at one time about.
Okay.
I got to get back into that because it's got a lot of charms. I love that guy.
Is so funny.
Yeah,
Rose Berry something. Or his last name's Berry. Yeah.
Are you talking about the movie hilarious. Or the series? The movie or the
series. The movie, I didn't think the movie was that great. But the series is, you got to watch a few episodes to get what's happening.
Uh-huh.
Is that on Netflix?
That is on Hulu.
Oh, you know what? I may have
I think it's on Canopy. I think it's on Canopy if you get that.
Oh, is it?
I never heard of Canopy.
So,
it's the
anybody
library.
can get Canopy, yeah.
Well,
if you've got a library card.
If your library is part of the system, you can get Canopy.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a video. You can rent videos on it.
It's pretty cool. They got quite a library.
Yeah.
Save on money.
Yeah.
Because I had to cut back because I had like $100 I was giving towards the streaming. Crazy.
Yep.
Well, now you're giving me all your money.
There's too many. There's too many to pick from. Too many movies. Yeah. So I just got rid of half of them.
Yeah. I went with my brother to Tulsa today, and we were talking about how all these streaming things. It's like, man, it's amazing how places don't sell DVDs anymore hardly.
No, you only see them in these big bargain basement bins where it's like everything's tossed in there.
You can get them on Amazon.
Yeah, you get them on
Yeah.
Amazon, but Best Buy. We drove past a Best Buy, and I was like talking about how Best Buy they don't have movies anymore.
What did you guys do down in Tulsa?
We went to a seminar about building storage unit
Oh,
facilities.
of course. Yeah, you guys have got to research that. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Was it dull?
Okay.
No, it was decent. So my mom has that farm, and we've talked about what we're going to do with it. And that's one of the things we've looked at, but it's like, I don't know if I want to borrow the amount of money it would take to build one.
What is your research telling you it's going to cost you if you do it?
Depends on how big we want to build, but maybe like $1 million.
Yeah, $1 million gets it done.
$1 million gets it done, and that would build a facility that we could reasonably expect to make about $42,000 a month on.
Wow.
But the mortgage on $1 million is $8,000 a month. So I mean, we could do we could, but I mean, before we get it done, we'd probably have to spend $20,000 or $30,000 in
Till the money came in.
Yeah.
And getting surveys and blueprints and a lot of that kind of stuff, permits and just, and there's a lot of steps that we got to do before we can even get started. And so I don't know, we're going to have to really crunch the numbers and decide if we think it's worth it, which, I mean, it sounds like a lot of money, but you still, no matter what happens, you got to pay that $8,000 a month.
You just got to hang in there until you can make it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to say, there's something you want to add? I was
No.
Night.
Nope. Yeah. Is it time? It's time. Let's call.
Oh, is it time? 56 minutes.
Don't hang up, Ellis.
Okay, I won't.
You have 56? I have right on the button.
Oh, you have an hour's worth? Okay.
Well,
I see what you're saying.
The time elapsed.
Time that we actually were in the recording.
Yeah.
Okay. You got to fill up that. I'll do a little dance.
There we go.
He's dying to.
Oh, my head's way too big right now. There we go. Wait a second. Let me get this off the stage. That'll help.
I'm not ready to dance.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. Well, are we just waving bye-bye?
Unless you do a chair dance.
It's a chair dance.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the center and do chair dancing.
When it got real cold, I was trying to think of an option. I don't have enough room to do a jump rope. Don't have enough overhead, but I can, do a shadow box jump rope. And so instead of that, I looked up on YouTube how to do a shuffle dance. And just about destroyed my knee, as I discovered the next day.
You gotta be careful, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I got out in that extremely cold weather and tried to do a deep squat, and it's like, wow, listen to all that new snap, crackle, and pop coming out of my knee. And I thought I was kind of entertained by it. And what I was doing was a whole bunch of micro rips of the knee, and the next day that thing was swollen up.
Oh, geez. Yeah, you got to be careful. I've been stretching. I found a YouTube channel that has stretches.
Yeah. Hey, Mario, what are you trying to get our attention? You look like you were pointing.
I don't like to interrupt, and I want to share. But
okay.
No, what I was going to say was I'm sitting watching TV, and when I get up, I have rigor mortis setting in.
Yeah,
it's very difficult to get up. That's the way I feel. I feel like, oh God, rigor mortis started. I was only sitting there 2 hours.
I was a little premature. I'm not dead.
That's why
like the liquids are all solidified or something.
Yep.
I've been stretching. It seems to help, but
it helps.
Exercise every day. I exercise every day.
That's good.
A little bit, something.
Yeah.
Well,
not a lot.
Well, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. We'll continue talking.
Well, okay.
Okay. Did you want to say anything before I end it, Scott?
No, not on the stream.
Okay.
I was
Ending
just-
stream.